So what we're looking at here is allegedly pure gold, but actually is an 8V92 water pump. Called to see about getting a new one while we got this engine torn down. $1,700. I've bought entire two-stroke engines for that price. So we're just going to go ahead and rebuild this one then. Nothing really wrong with it, but we got it down, we got it apart, so we're going to go ahead and go through it real quick. Yep, I don't know why I expected that to work. These things are usually stuck. Oh my god, it worked. Kinda. Leave that for a sec, I gotta go grab a screwdriver. I'm still amazed. This never happens. Huh. I thought that was going to put up a lot more of a fight than it did. Alright, now I gotta get that plate moving. I'm gonna be careful though. You can break these. After considerable amount of fighting, it's moving. This thing was seized in there pretty good. Alright, maybe it's still going to fight a little bit. There we go. Washer out of there. So that was just a 5/8 nut. If you're not going to use an impact, you're going to have to hold the gear on the backside for the gear train. But now this shaft is just kind of held on just from the taper being stuck. So we're going to get a puller. 2 bolts in here, we're going to pull against that shaft. So I'm going to get my puller out real quick. There it is. Pull her off this now, and we'll take a look at the impeller, see if we see anything on it. We'll clean that housing up a little bit. It's not terrible. I can feel a little bit of corrosion in a few spots, but the impeller doesn't look terrible, but there is a new one in the kit, so we will go ahead and install the new one. So now we're going to get the snap ring, hold the bearings and the shaft in out. There we go. So it's sitting up in the channel here above it now. There's the shaft, outer bearing, inner bearing. Seal that's in there that needs to get knocked out. all the seals are out, ready to clean the bores. One thing we have left that we need to do is this gear does not come in the rebuild kit. So this gear is going to have to get put in the press, and we're going to have to press the shaft out of the center, but that's not too difficult to do. Going to get that shaft and gear pressed apart real quick. There it goes. Should be dropping out of there like I said, any second. So here's our old bearing shaft, snap ring, which the snap ring's probably fine, but I parked on an angle here. It comes with a new one in the kit, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So we're gonna take the gear, put our snap ring on. Then we're gonna take this shaft and go back to the press the new one with the new bearings on. Now the bearings really easy to put in. I've got a driver that goes around them and they just go right on there. But we'll get that pressed together real quick, and then we'll be ready to start reassembling everything in the pump housing. All right, we got it pressed on. So what I did is I put my flat bar underneath of it, set it vertically in the press like this, and put a soft jaw on top to press down because I didn't want to damage the threads, which they look like they came out perfect. But doing it this way, I just let the snap ring sit just like that down in the gear. So there isn't a possibility or any way that you can get the snap ring pressed between the bearing and the gear. I have seen people do that before though. So if you put it together this way, two ways, or two upsides to it is your snap ring won't get stuck, and it doesn't go past the end of this gear. So it sits there. You're gonna tear up the end of it as long as you use a soft jaw, brass, aluminum, something like that. But this thing's ready to put back in the housing, and then we can start assembly. So I got it on there. All I did was take 2 good blows with the dead blow straight down, and that thing is now completely seated in there, and we're ready to fight that snap ring in there, which it can be a bit of a fight. Snap rings are not fun when you have limited access, but we'll get it. So this is that 3/4 caging socket, extra long, and maybe it won't work. I swore when I test fit it, yeah, it fits that one just fine. So there's apparently some difference in the new shaft from the old shaft. Get more tool works either way, but yeah, still got to get all the seals pressed down in there. But I gotta see. I guess now you guys get to see it get seated anyway. So yeah, not much holding that in there without that snap ring. So I guess we'll go ahead and just get the snap ring in. I'm gonna need a screwdriver for that. All right, we'll try it again. This time with a screwdriver. So you really don't want to put your finger down in there. Well, what the hell? Yeah, there we go. Alright, I'm going to go around real quick with my screwdriver and make sure that everything's seated all the way around, but I think we got that snap ring finally in. The first seal drove in there. Now we need to take the second seal, get it on, and drove down in there as well. Alright, so we got that first seal drove in there. Now we've got this seal to go ahead and install. Seal is in. Take the impeller, put it on there. Got a new nut here, we'll get that on real quick and we'll get that thing tightened down. Alright, so now we just got to get the snap ring back in. Now when you go to do these snap rings actually only do go in one way. So I need to get my big snap ring pliers and we'll get that thing put right back in there. There we go. O-ring's in. We got a new plate on here because of how stuck the old one was. We had to beat on this quite a bit, so we didn't want to risk using the old one. And there is actually an out label on the snap ring in case you're not sure which way it is supposed to go on there. But it's a reassembled water pump.